a power struggle. It's not a debate. It's a raw battle for survival. And you have to understand, when it happens inside the palace walls, the first sound you hear isn't truth. It's the sound of betrayal.
You see, the first unbreakable rule of power is that it protects itself. Always. It doesn't confess, it doesn't apologize, it builds a fortress around its own survival, no matter what the cost is.
So what happens when one of the guards starts shouting from inside those fortress walls? When an insider breaks the silence, it means the empire isn't just under attack from the outside, it means it's trembling from within.
And this is the accusation right at the heart of the conflict. Listen to those words carefully. That isn't the language of denial, is it? It's the language of protection. It's an admission that shielding allies was the #1 priority.
Just look at these names. Marjorie Taylor Greene isn't attacking political enemies here. No, she is naming her own side. She's accusing Donald Trump, the Department of Justice, the FBI, and even Speaker Mike Johnson of a cover-up involving Jeffrey Epstein's files. This is a direct attack on the inner circle itself. What you're seeing, it isn't just random political chaos, it's a pattern. A predictable, really dangerous pattern that a political philosopher named Niccolo Machiavelli described centuries ago. He literally gave us the playbook for how power protects itself and how it begins to fracture.
Machiavelli is our guide here because he understood something brutal about power. Authority can survive mistakes, but it rarely survives public doubt from within its own ranks. He gives us the framework to understand what's happening when a leader's inner circle suddenly feels threatened. Now, the crucial point is that jump from stage 3 to stage 4. A leader protects their allies to consolidate power, right? But the moment that protection becomes public, everything changes. It transforms. What once looked like strength now looks like fear, and that is the very beginning of the fracture.
And the signs of that fracture? Well, they're now becoming crystal clear. Public accusations, internal resistance, and a desperate, full-blown battle for the narrative itself. This is so critical. Marjorie Taylor Greene isn't blaming advisors or some staffer for bad advice. No, she's pointing directly at the throne. She claims Donald Trump himself fought to block the full release of the Epstein files. Her words, it was him. And then this happens. A massive list of names just appears out of nowhere. Celebrities, historical figures, a flood of information so huge that it drowns the original accusation in noise. This is a classic Machiavellian tactic. You overwhelm perception. You blur the battlefield so clarity becomes impossible.
This really illustrates the internal rupture perfectly. We're hearing about yelling on phone calls, procedural battles spilling out into the open. You've got figures like Thomas Massie forcing votes, while Speaker Mike Johnson is being accused of obstruction. This isn't just politics as usual. This is a breakdown of command.
So this brings us to two competing realities, two frames that simply cannot coexist. On one side, you have the idea that this controversy is all a hoax. On the other, that this is a deep moral crisis. This forces followers to choose a side, and that creates camps, escalating the entire power struggle. So this whole conflict is now shifting from just a political disagreement to something far, far more dangerous. We're moving past the point of any quiet resolution. We are seeing three really dangerous shifts. First, a narrative war is erupting online. Second, key institutions like the DOJ and the FBI are being pulled right into the fight, viewed as players instead of neutral referees. And maybe most important, the fight is being reframed as a moral crisis. When that happens, compromise dies. The stakes become existential. You see, a leader loses control when they misjudge the emotional temperature of their own base. By calling something a hoax that followers see as a profound moral issue, a leader creates a vacuum of trust. And vacuums, they always pull in rivals. And this is the deep psychological shift. If followers believe their leader has crossed some fundamental moral line, a line that involves protecting elites over victims, then fear is no longer enough to command their absolute loyalty. Suddenly, loyalty becomes conditional. So the future is not set. But the outcome of this fracture, well, it's going to redefine the entire power structure. There are three potential paths forward from this throne of doubt. Okay, path one is reconsolidation, where strategic releases of information are used to regain control. Path two is a controlled sacrifice, where some smaller players take the fall to protect the center. And path three, that's an escalating fracture, where more insiders speak out, the base divides, and the throne itself is weakened. Each path completely changes who holds the power. In the end, This isn't about documents or files. It's about authority, loyalty, and survival. And it leaves us with one truly chilling question. When a leader says, "My friends will get hurt," we have to ask, who exactly is being protected? And what is the ultimate cost of that protection?